Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video tutorial. For this I'll be starting a new series based on dubious positions and how to attack them. One of the trilogy books in the trilogy of opening theory on Xiangqi. There are about 90 or almost 100 bots in this book and I'll be uploading them. You'll focus on instead of the usual commentaries on games, it will focus on the various mistakes that we can see often in opening theory and how you could exploit them. And special thanks is to be given to Master Xiangqi and Grandmaster Zhang for allowing me to use their work in this book. So without further ado, let us begin. Okay, in the first bot, the same direction cannons was discussed. Now, red would attack with the rank chariot, black will counter with a foul chariot. Now, so red would usually play r1 equals to 6 to focus his pressure on this flank. And in this bot, black would counter with r8 plus 4, which is one of the standard counters nowadays that has been proven over time to be a very viable approach. Red would develop his left horse as a proper horse to consolidate and strengthen the center. Now, in this bot, black would play something which is considered to be out of the ordinary by playing r8 equals to 3 to attack this horse. Now, this is on the surface, it would appear to be a good move because black would be prepared to capture the pawn, attack the horse, and he could also play r2 plus 4 to attack red center. Now, he could also play c2 equals to 3 to capture material by force. Unfortunately, this is not a good move according to Xiangqi opening theory. Now, instead, usually h2 plus 3 or h6 plus 5 to consolidate black's defense is usually advocated and is considered to be the opening tabia. So, faced with black's impending attack, how should red reply? Now, the best move would be to sacrifice the pawn, forcing the chariot to capture it. And at this point in time, the chariot, once it reaches this position, it will be very vulnerable to attack, as we will be seeing very soon. And after this move, red will play h7 plus 6, threatening to capture the central pawn. Now, in this board, black could play p7 plus 1 to discourage red from playing h6 plus 4. Now, if black chose to play h3 plus 4, he would have wasted one move by advancing and then retreating, and red would attack mercilessly with h6 minus 8 to threaten the chariot. Now, with this move, red would also be using his cannon to threaten to capture black's cannon. So this would be a fork to gain material. Black would be placed in a dilemma. So, for example, if black played this move, red would capture the cannon and still target the black horse. So black could lose material. So that is why p7 plus 1 is played. Now, the next move that red would make would be to play e7 plus 9 to threaten to capture the chariot, which is now placed in a very vulnerable position. So this move would force black to reveal where the chariot would be placed, and red will attack accordingly. There are three main variations at this point: r3 minus 1, r3 equals to 2, and c2 plus 4. Now, at this point in time, it would be a huge mistake for black to play r3 plus 1 because red would immediately capture the horse, threaten to capture the chariot with this move, forcing the chariot to move away, and then play h8 plus 7. Now, red would now be threatening to checkmate with r4 plus 8. This would be an angler horse checkmate, and at the same time also capture the black chariot. Now, it is obvious that if black lost so much material at this point in time, this would be a winning position for red. So red will win rapidly. So this is the reason why black cannot play r3 plus 1. So let us go to variation A whereby black could retreat his chariot. So at this point in time, before we continue, this will be the eighth ply, but as can be seen, black would have used up several moves for this chariot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this would be done at the expense of underdevelopment of this flank and the other major pieces. Whereas red, after sacrificing one pawn, would have moved his chariot, his horses, his cannon, and the elephant. So red would have gained some initiative at this point in time. And since black was forced to retreat his chariot, black will now start his attack mercilessly. This would be red will sound his attack by retreating the horse to target the black chariot. And black would be forced to trade his chariot for two of red's pieces. Now this move was played in desperation. Red cannot play black cannot play r3 plus 2 because red will capture the cannon and then protect the horse in this manner. Now red will now have the material advantage and all these pieces will be ready to go. The chariot will now have to attack, and as for black, there will not be much that he can do with the horse and cannon at this point in time, and the horse cannot advance or his cannon would be lost. So there will be many tactical possibilities for red, and black will be in all sorts of trouble. So red would of course trade material. Now black cannot let his guard down, and instead he must capture the horse first. Now if he played c2 equals to 7, the horse would be freed, and now by retreating to this position he'll be ready to go for the elbow horse attack. So if black tried to prevent elbow horse attack, as can be seen, the horse would now move to safety and red would have a significant advantage. At this point it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 for red's pieces versus 5 of black's pieces, but black's chariot would not have been developed, and red would get to develop his chariot first, and red would have significant advantage because losing a chariot so early in the game is usually not commendable. So p3 plus 1, and red would continue his attack with a brilliant sacrifice of material by playing r9 equals to 8. Now if he played less proactively and tried to move the horse to safety, black could immediately develop his right flank and protect his cannon in the nick of time. Red would have missed an opportunity, and black would be able to put up a fight. Now red cannot make this move, or black would simply capture it and threaten to capture the central pawn for double cannon checkmate. So there's still some traps over here. So r6 plus 1 is not viable, but other than this, red would have could attack the horse, etc., and he will have much going on. So sacrificing the horse was very proactive and is quite commonly seen in in opening systems involving the same direction cannons. So black would capture the horse, and because black had used up so many moves, red would now pin the entire right flank with just one chariot. Now this would be a huge advantage. Black would try to continue his attack, deliver a check, try to consolidate his defense, but red will now start attacking by moving the king out to help it attack. By moving the king out, the red chariot will now threaten to checkmate by capturing the advisor and also free the cannon to do damage. Black was forced to play a6 plus 5. Red will now chase the cannon, forcing it to retreat, and afterwards red would play c5 equals to 6 to threaten to capture the advisor by force. Of course, c5 equals to 8 could also be an alternative for black to gain back lost material. but it will not be as powerful as or as deadly or vicious as this move, whereby black could threaten to capture their advisor by force. So it will be very extremely difficult for black to try to salvage this situation, even if he tried to um, defend or counter-sacrifice material. So basically, this would be a winning position for red. So in variation B, black would try to trade material with R3 equals to 2, hoping that by trading material he could buffer red's attack. But red would, at this point in time, would have c equals to 7, threatening to capture the elephant for check and then capture the chariot. The best move for black would be to play c2 equals to 3 to try to continue to trade material. Now, h2 plus 1 would not be a good idea because black would immediately, his horse would jump into action, threatening to capture the chariot. Again, the chariot cannot move here or it will be captured by the elephant. Red will be forced to retreat his chariot, and red will continue to advance his mighty horse to attack. With this move, red will now threaten to capture the advisor and also go for a pale corner horse checkmate, the palace corner horse check, and then capture the black chariot. Now black can defend in this manner, but red will now attack with c7 plus 5. Now, of course, red could also consider sacrificing material, check, again, and capture the chariot in this manner. Now, after trading, again, the speed of development of the pieces would be to red's advantage, and red would also have a significant advantage. Now, otherwise, hc7 plus 5 would also be a good idea. h7 plus 6, and red will now focus his entire attack, focus his attack on this flank, preparing to capture the chariot, preparing to capture the horse. So black would danger will look everywhere for black, and black would be in all sorts of trouble. Now c2 equals to 3 would be perhaps black's best move at this point, but even so, red would simply capture the trade cannons, develop his chariot, and this would force black to protect his horse in this manner. R2 minus 2 to try to protect the pawn would be a bad idea because red will use the horse instead of the chariot to capture the pawn. Black will try to switch formations and use the sandwich horse defense. A check, whereby since both the chariot and the black cannon have blocked both horses from protecting the central file. And after trading chariots, black could boldly sacrifice his horse and gain material in this manner. As can be seen, red would capture the elephant and have a significant advantage. So that is why R2 minus 2 would not be a good idea. Now what about R2 minus 3? Red would capture the pawn, threaten the horse, and be prepared to play c5 equals to 7 as one of many possible tactical combinations to gain material. Red will try to consolidate his defense in r6 equals to 7, and as can be seen at this point in time, red's material would be all over the place, and red would have the complete spatial advantage in this situation, and red will continue to dictate the momentum of the entire game, and there will be many possible tactical combinations. For example, h6 plus 8 followed by the cannon to capture the chariot. So black would be in danger of losing more material. So that is why variation B would also not be a possibility for black. Now, what about the last variation, c2 plus 4? This would be perhaps the most tenacious variation or move that black can afford. Now, black would try to strive for a state of confrontation with this move. With c2 plus 4, the elephant is blocked from capturing the chariot. So, red would play r6 plus 2 for this very sound move. It would not be a good idea at this point to capture the central pawn, because black would capture the horse after trading material. Black would try to gain material in this manner, but in doing so, his own defense was still not very consolidated, and black would opt to strive to trade material. This is a very important move to make. It would not be a good idea at this point to capture the horse because the right flank is not developed. Now red would retreat his cannon and maintain the threat that the cannon had on the central file. Now red cannot play h3 minus 5 because black would simply capture the cannon, and after the horse capture it, this would be a check, and black would still gain material at this point in time and now actually turn the tables. So that is why h3 plus 5, h3 minus 5, sorry, for red would not be a good idea. And after c5 minus 2, black can finally capture the horse and can be satisfied with this situation. Now this would be a far cry from the actual play, and that is why h6 plus 5 is not advocated. Instead, red should make this very sound move of r6 plus 2. Black would immediately try to develop his right flank to prevent congestion. Red would offer a trade of chariots. Now this is a very good idea for red at this point because red's chariot was closed and black's chariot was in the open. Using a closed piece to trade for an open piece is an ideal tactic to use in Xiangqi. Now this, after making this move, black's attack will be halted and red would be sorry, red would grow from strength to strength. So black tried to put up a fight, but red would have none of it, and he would immediately play h6 plus 7 to continue his attack. And black is forced to retreat so that he could try to maybe change to the sandwich horse defense formation to consolidate his defense. Now if black did not make this move, red would have r6 plus 4. For example, if let's say he retreated the riverbank, red would have r6 plus 4 as many tactical combinations, and again black would be in all sorts of trouble. The chariot cannot protect the horse in this manner because the horse would have covered this intersection. So black would have a hard time trying to fathom how he would save his horse. So c2 plus 4 will be to prevent r6 plus 4. But at this point in time, red will now start his attack by playing c8 equals to 7, forcing black to try to switch formations, or red would simply capture the cannon and gain material. And because black had moved his horse away, a cannon away, his central was now weak, and red would play p5 plus 1, threatening to push his pawn forward again, and after trading pawns, the horse would move here to attack. Black tries to consolidate his defense, and at this point in time, red would make this very nice intermediate move. Now, this would, by moving the chariot over here to threat, black would now discourage black from moving the elephant to the central file for defense, as the cannon would be lost. Now, this very intermediate move would again force black's hand and show how he would defend this situation, and red could attack accordingly. Now, if red was too eager to attack and played p5 plus 1, black would play c6 plus 1 to trade material, and after trading material, it would be black black will find sorry black will gain some space and time, buy some precious time to reorganize his defense, and it'll be much harder for red to try to crack black's defense. So at this point in time, black will usually protect his cannon with the chariot and then attack in this manner. Now with h7 plus 9, the red house will now threaten to attack the chariot. If the elephant will capture, but black will play c7 plus 5 to gain material, and at this point in time he will be preparing to capture the central pawn and also threaten the red house at this point in time. Now, as can be seen, black's entire formation was in a disarray. This defense would be minimal. The black chariot and cannon would be pinned by the red chariot, and red would have many tactical combinations. And red could also develop his horse from the central file for an attack from the central file. So this would be the first board in this series of lectures. So all black's plight at this point in time all stem from this move, r8 equals to 3. So after making r8 equals to 3, the chariot will be attacking black's camp alone, and this is usually ill-advised because red could spring many traps as can be seen in this board. So again, after making this move, let us see this board from the eyes of black. Okay, after I plus 3, black will sacrifice the pawn, forcing the capture, moving it, and black will play p7 plus 1, e7 plus 9 to attack the chariot, and there will be 3 major variations: r3 minus 1, r3 equals to 2, and c2 plus 4. In the first variation, r3 minus 1, the horse will start attacking, forcing a trade of material, and red will start sacrificing material to attack this very weak flank. And after attacking, the king will now come out, threaten to checkmate, forcing the king back, and the cannon will now be added. Of course, c6, c5 equals to 8 is also a possibility, but the game will drag on and it will not be as crisp or as concise as this move. In variation B, r3 equals to 2 was played as black tried to trade material, but red would have none of it and play c2, c8 equals to 7 to attack the elephant. Now, black would defend in this manner, and the chariot would, the second red chariot would now be let into action, protecting the horse. Now, as can be seen, black's pieces is all over the red's pieces are all over the place, and black will try his best to defend. And at this point, red will command the absolute advantage and be prepared to play h6 plus 8 to threaten the chariot, and then c5 equals to 8 to capture this chariot. So red will command the absolute spatial advantage. c2 plus 4 would perhaps be black's best bet, but again it would not suffice against red's fury attack. A good sound move, and red would trade his close chariot for black's open chariot, and after trading material, you can see that red's pieces have already crossed the river and was already threatening the cannon, forcing it to retreat. c5 equals to 6, and a very nice move, r6 equals to 8, an intermediate move. And after trading material, black's pieces are all in disarray and red was prepared to gain material at this point. So again, this board would, according to the authors, is a good example of why it is never advisable to try to attack with one piece alone, because it will be easily the opponent will easily blindside or capture this offending piece. Also, it will be very important, as can be seen from the ending of this board, that it's very important to have balanced development of both flanks. As can be seen, because of red black's earlier folly, both material on both flanks are underdeveloped, and red would have a significant advantage. So I hope you've enjoyed this short video. If you like the work that I've been doing, please do subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Thank you.